This is level M, list 7, and we're doing the day 1 page, and you'll see in these words here that we have a short vowel, we're doubling the consonant before adding on a vowel suffix. So let's go through and highlight the vowel suffix ing first in one colour. It's got begging, batting, rubbing, trotting, skipping, and that indicates the present tense. Then we've got the ed at the end, so we've got begged, battered, rubbed, trotted, skipped, and that indicates past tense of a verb. So you can hear the ed making its different sounds. So we've got begged, battered, so you've got the ud sound, rubbed, just the d sound, trotted, you got the ed, ud sound again, and skipped is where the ed is making its t sound. Now, how do we know when to double a letter in a word? Well, let's get another colour and let's colour in that double G here, and we'll go through in a minute how we know when to double that letter before adding on that vowel suffix. It's happening in all of these words. It's one of the most important things you're going to learn in spelling. Now, if you have a look at that, you can see all of these words have a short vowel sound before their final letter. So we've got a, o, it. And as a final thing there, you can also see that we're using a K before an I for the k sound. So we know for us, we have a k sound that's followed by an I, an E or a Y. We must use a K before it. So what are the 4 things that we look for to know whether we double the letter of a base word before adding on a suffix? Well, the 4 things are: is the base word a short word, or does it only have 1 syllable? Is another way of saying it. So beg is 1 syllable. Beg, yes, it's a short base word. Bat, yes, it's only got 1 syllable, it's a short base word. Rub has 1 syllable. Trot has 1 syllable. Skip has 1 syllable. It's a short word. So we've got ticks for all of those words. They're all short words or only have 1 syllable in them. The next thing is, does a base word have a short vowel in it? O, it, we decided were all short vowel sounds, so we're getting 2 ticks for all of these words. The next thing we have to look at is, does the base word end in 1 consonant? Yes, beg ends in 1 consonant, a G. Bat ends in 1 consonant, a T. Rub ends in 1 consonant, a B. Trot ends in 1 consonant, a T. And skip ends in 1 consonant, a P. So yes, we did get that. We know that the suffixes, the bit we add on to the end, ing is starting with a vowel and ed is starting with a vowel. So does the suffix bit we add on start with a vowel? Yes, in all of these words it does. If we get 4 ticks, then we know we must double that last letter of the word so that we have it written twice before we add the suffix on. So that's a very important rule that you're going to use a lot in your life. So what do these words actually mean? Well, begging is when you're pleading or asking for something, you really need something. Batting is where you're hitting a ball with a bat. Rubbing is where you rub your hands together, or you might rub something against another thing. So you might rub the car dry or rub your dog dry if you've washed it. Trotting is how we say a horse moves. It's faster than a walk, but it's slower than a gallop or a canter. And you might even use that for yourself. You might say, I just trotted over to the shop to buy an ice cream. It means you didn't walk slowly, you went a little bit fast, but not too fast. Skipping has different meanings. So skipping could mean jumping with a short rope or a long rope. and it can also mean missing a turn. So you're skipping school tomorrow means you're missing school tomorrow. So the past tense of each of these has a similar meaning to the present tense, but we're just using it to say it happened at a different time. So let's go back to begging, and we'll read it, sound it, spell it, write it, and then check it. So we might need to break these into syllables. So if we are, we're going to split them between the double consonant in the middle of all of these words. Just if you want to pop a line through those. So we're going to go begging, begging, B-E-G-G-I-N-G, 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 and you could also say B-E-double-G-I-N-G, B-E-double-G-I-N-G. Okay, you can finish that page off on your own. This is level M, list 7, and we're doing the day 2 page. These words are all verbs, so let's read them. We've got begging, begged, batting, battered, rubbing, rubbed, trotting, trotted, skipping, skipped. So you can see these are words that, as they're verbs, they're things we can do. So let's have a look at what's happening within these words. We can see, and I've already highlighted, you'll need to highlight too, the double consonant in the middle of all these words. Then choose a different colour, and you're going to highlight the ing in these words. I-N-G makes the ing sound. So if you're doing it now, you might say I am skipping or I am begging or whatever. Then you need another colour, and we're going to do the ED. So this indicates past tense of a verb. It's something you've already done. So you can highlight that as well. And then we need another colour, and we're going to highlight the short vowel. So we've got b-e-g, b-at, r-up, t-r-ot, sk-ip. Okay, so whenever you're writing a word with an added ending, a suffix added to the end of the word, make sure you always write the base word first and then add the suffix on. Now here, we also have to double that last letter of the base word. How do we know when to do that? So there's 4 things that we look at. So we say, is there a short vowel in the base word? Yes, there is. We're looking for 4 ticks to know that we have to double that last letter of the base word. Is the base word a short word? Does it end in one consonant? And the bit we add on, the suffix, does it start with a vowel? If you get 4 ticks, you know you're going to double that last letter of the base word before adding on that vowel suffix. So that's probably one of the most important things you're going to learn in spelling. Now, these are pretty easy words because we really want you to focus on knowing when to double that last letter and the 4 questions that you have to ask yourself to know whether to do that. You can see, the only other tricky thing in here, you can see that we've got skip, and we're using the K before the I for the k sound because we know that we always use a K before an I for the k sound. If the k sound is followed by an I, E or a Y, and it's followed by an I there, so that's why we're doing that. Now, what do these words mean? Begging means that you really want something or you're pleading for something. Batting or battered is when you hit a ball with a bat. Rubbing is when you rub something, like you might rub the board or rub your arm or something, so forwards and backwards movement. Trotting is something that a horse does. It's between a walk and a canter. So faster than a walk but slower than a canter. It can also mean if we say, I'm just trotting off to the shops, or I'm just trotting to do something. It means not super fast but not slow either. Skipping means that you can jump with a rope, or you can hop on one foot and then the other, or you can miss a turn, like he's skipping a turn or something. Okay, so we've got to go through and read, sound, spell and write those words now. So get your little bit of paper ready to cover with, and we're going to go b-e-g-ing, b-egg. Probably best to break this into 2 syllables to make it easier. Let's go begging, begged. So begging, B-E-G-G-I-N-G. Cover it. And you can do the rest of those on your own. So always to remember, write the base word and then add the bit on, the suffix on. Now down here you've got a rule alert. Double the consonant to keep the previous vowel short when adding a vowel suffix to a 1-syllable word. That's the rule that you have to remember. Going through that process makes it easier. So colour the short vowel in the base words orange, colour the double letters in the base words red, and colour the ed in the words green, and colour the ing in the words blue. That's once you've filled in that crossword. You have to go back and do that. I think by now you know that the clues for a cross, you find number 1 and you write the word going across, 1 letter in each square, and the down means going down following those numbers there with the clue next to it. Down the bottom you have to read and fill each gap with a list word. So there's your list words up there. This is level M, list 7, and we're doing the day 3, and our words are begging, begged, batting, battered, rubbing, rubbed, trotting, trotted, skipping, skipped. Now there's quite a lot in this list. You might look at it and think it's a simple list, but there's a lot of learning to take place, because this is going to be one of the most important things you learn in spelling. When to double the letter at the end of a base word or not. Now, so there's 4 things we need to ask when we're making that decision. First one is the base word 1 syllable? Beg, bat, rub, trot, skip are all 1 syllable. Do they all have a short vowel in the base word? Beg, but yes, beg does. At in bat, up in rub, op in trot, it in skip. Do the base words all end in 1 consonant? Beg ends with a G, bat ends with a T, rub ends with a B, trot ends with 1 T, and skip ends with 1 P. So yes, they do all end with 1 consonant. And the bit we add on, the suffix, doesn't start with a vowel. Ing does and ed does. So if we get 4 ticks there, we know we're going to double that last letter, which would be the G in begging and begged, the T in batting and battered, etc. So we're going to double that last letter of the base word before we add the vowel suffix. Now there's some other things in here too that we're revising. You've already learnt that ed at the end of a word can make 3 different sounds. It can say ud, d, or t, but you know, even though you might be hearing a different sound, you know to write ed to make past tense of those verbs. So let's have a look at how we're going to split these words into syllables. So we're going to split them between the double consonant in the middle. So we know that because these vowels are all making a short sound, we have to close the syllable with a consonant. So we're calling them closed syllables. And we're splitting them all between that double consonant in the middle of the word. And they're all closed. I'm just putting a little C under there so you know that they're all closed syllables at the start, in that first syllable in each word. Okay, let's go and choose a highlighter, and we're going to highlight the ing at the end of a word a different colour, and then we're going to go back and highlight the ed a different colour as well. So the thing is not only learning how to spell these words, and this rule, but how to apply this to thousands of other words that you're going to be writing in your stories or whenever you're writing something down. Okay, so let's have a look at what else is happening in these words. We've got the K before an I for the kut sound. We've already covered that. I don't think there's any other tricks in there. So write the base word of each word. So rubbing comes from the word rub. So you have to just write the base word on those lines. Why do we not double the last letter of the base word when adding ing and ed to the words below? Okay, so it's going to be one of these things. It might be that the base word has more than one syllable. It could be that the base word does not have a short vowel. It could be that the base word does not end in one consonant. It means it ends in more than one consonant. And it could also mean, we haven't done that, we have used vowel suffixes, so that won't be one of the reasons. So you might need to discuss that as a group. But these ones are similar and these ones are similar. Verb families. Hint, we do not double the consonant when adding s as it is not a vowel suffix. So whenever you're adding s to a verb, to a base word verb, you're not doubling that last letter. She will beg, she begs. They are begging, she begged. So you'll have to work out, you know, not to double the last letter here. You will have to double it in these two here because we've discussed why up the top. Finish the sentences by changing the verbs into nouns. Now, someone who begs is a beg-ar. So that's an AR at the end, don't be tricked. Someone who bats is a batter. Usually we add ER to the end of a word to tell us someone who's. Something that rubs is a rubber. Someone who skips is a horse that trots is a. So you can work out those, how to spell those words going down there. Let's go back and read the word sound, the word spell it. We might break these up into our syllables. So we're going to go begging, begging, B-E-G-G-I-N-G. Or you might want to say B-E-G-G-I-N-G. You choose, cover it over while you write it, B-E-G-G-I-N-G. You can do the rest of those and finish off that page. Level M, list 7, we're doing the day 4 page on modal verbs. And what is a modal verb? They help us to say if something is certain, probable, possible or not. And such words could be must, shall, will, should, would, can, could, may, might. So I've put some modal verbs in here in the bold print, and you have to choose which word fits best in each sentence. So you're going to have to work out the degree of certainty that is needed. So fill in the gaps with the correct modal verb. Would it be can, could or could have? Vowel something, ride a bike. Vowel can ride a bike. Rory something, finish his homework, or he something, watch TV. You can work out which other ones. So we tried to just use each word once, each modal verb once. So you can read those sentences, decide as a group or on your own which is the best modal verb to finish the sentence, and then just confer at the end to make sure that they're all correct.